What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Fear and Lava on Dawn of Vermilion. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Dawn of Vermilion, the best map in the game, is where we have to gather 20 xenon crystals and return them to the stabilizer in the middle of our base. The crystals appear once lava recedes from the low ground, but we need to flee to the high ground while the lava is up. Void rifts spawn every 90 seconds starting from 220. They continuously spawn units until destroyed. Your guys sometimes run around in fear when they get hit.
Okay, so we have Twotuuu in the call with us today. Twotuuu, how are you?
It's alright.
Alright.
This mutation's not gonna be great though.
that makes two of us. So how do we rank the commanders this week?
Oh, well, it's Void Rifts. So if you're good against the Rifts themselves, you'll be alright. And then because of fear, you have to have a way to push without getting feared. And you also have to be able to defend trickles without getting feared. So if your commander relies on units, they're gonna be a little worse than those that can use static defense.
Okay, mine is kind of like that. So I have three metrics here. One is early rifts, two is far rifts, and three is getting crystals and getting them back while having a means to minimize your worker just dying or losing, being lost in the middle of the map. If you have all three, you're A or higher. If you have two, you're B. If you have one, you're a C. If you have none, you're a D. Basically, that's that. So let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
So for Abathur, you're pretty much like, unless you know exactly what to do, you're not gonna get a fast Brutalisk.
Yes.
So you're gonna have to survive the first onslaught, and then hopefully you can get enough biomass to get a Brutalisk, because even if you can survive like the 250 wave with a few spine crawlers, but if you don't kill any rifts because you don't have any Brutalists, later on it's gonna be like when there are 4 at 350 and you still can't kill them because you have no Brutalists, you're gonna die. So if you can get a fast Brutalisk somehow before like 4 minutes somehow, then you might be okay. But if you can't, then you're gonna die. So I put Abathur in B.
Okay. Well, I have an A star actually because Lila does have a video showing how you can get a fast Brutalisk against every race on Dawn of Vermilion.
Oh.
But I don't have a problem with B. If you think he's B, I'm more than okay putting him down to B, because yeah, he does have a means to get a fast Brutalisk, but obviously you need to know what to do. Then after that, you can get to far rifts using the Brutalisks, and then you can just kind of make it easier for your workers to get the crystals by just having the Nidus worms out. You can just send more of them. You have lots of minerals to spare. If you don't know how to, as you said, if you don't know how to get a fast Brutalisk, and even if you do, if you just have bad luck or just misplace something by like a pixel or two, then you're gonna be screwed pretty much. So you know what? I'm okay with B. I actually have an A star, but B is fine. So prestige wise, you still want no prestige or the second prestige, right?
One or the other.
One or the other.
Locusts are good.
Locusts are really
Storm
good.
hosts are good.
Yeah. At later points of the game, if you have enough storm hosts, you can just defend the ramps without having to actually go on the map, or rather deep tunnel back to the base to deal with trickles. So that's pretty nice. Anyway, B is fine. It's not bad. Alarak for me is C tier. B tier rather. He does have a means to get the early rifts with the mothership, and he does have a means to get to the far rifts by sieging warp prisms or just putting down pylons on the high ground, so you can just warp in stuff or just teleport the mothership there. That being said, he does get a little bit of an issue trying to make sure that his probes are able to get to the crystals without getting lost, because yes, you can send lots of probes, but that will weaken your army because Alarak needs a lot of minerals to get supplicants. So he's only B for me.
I put him in C, because if 2 out of the 3 enemy races will have static defenses that shoot up. Spores, they do too, but there are a lot fewer of them. So if there are a lot of, especially Terran, if they're going to shoot up, they're going to make your mothership go nuts. And if your mothership gets feared, then it's not going to happen that often, but over time it's going to add up. And if you get feared even once, they're going to focus fire you. So it's going to be pretty bad. And Alarak himself, he's like melee. He's gonna get feared quite a lot, and if he gets feared, he's gonna keep eating your army. So unless you know how to position him so that he doesn't eat your army, and it's not gonna be very good. And Alarak's hit squads are destroyers, which are like motherships but just worse. So they're just like, they're very, very fragile, and they're going to die if if you try to attack some like rift over lava, you might also die as well. So it's like not very effective. He's not very good. You also need a lot of work to control rifts for
Yes.
for Alarak in
This is
general.
true.
So yeah, I don't think he's gonna be very effective.
I still think he's B, but I don't think it's a stretch to call him C. He was already a kind of a low B for me because, as he said, the Mothership and Arak both do get hit by fear. I didn't really factor it in that much because usually you only need to get one hit in to delete most of the things. But you do have a point where if you get feared first, then you won't get hit off. Since fear, I don't know. For me, fear has this tendency of being chained. That's my experience at least. So once you get feared, you just keep getting feared over and over again. So you know what? I'm okay with C. I still have him B, but I'm okay with C. Not that far of a stretch. Prestige-wise, you need a third one because you absolutely need that fast mothership to deal with the first drift. All right, Arcturus, where do we have him?
So he has bunkers. Bunkers can defend and they won't get feared, and the enemies aren't stronger. So you can hold off trickles for a long time. The problem is that he can't really clear rifts easily, since if you drop a bunker and like get out and arm them to get back in, you might get feared before you even re-enter the bunker. And you can't afford to keep dropping bunkers every time. ESOs are extremely slow at clearing rifts because they are pretty much random, and you need 6 shots to clear a rift because there's armor. So you need to be lucky 6 times in order to clear a rift. You also have to expand. So if your ally is not someone, or if you can't expand yourself, you don't have enough money to keep paying for troopers, and you can't really afford to keep dropping troopers and sacrificing them to blow up rifts. So I put him in C.
C, that's pretty far. I had him in A because he does have means to just drop bunkers. But you know what? I'll defer to your experience here. You did say that he does run out of steam if you drop bunkers too quickly. My thinking was actually you don't have to push as Arcturus. All you have to do is just kind of wait on the low ground crystals, and when the lava is about to go up, you can drop workers there or laborers and just gather the crystals and just sneak them away to the stabilizer. Although there are go ahead.
The problem with that is that if you can't clear the rifts, the trickles will keep attacking the workers.
That's true.
When you're trying to bring them back.
You know what? That's absolutely true. Although, yes, I think the thing that I said for Alarak still applies, where you just need to... You don't need to actually use the Earth Splitters to destroy the Void Rifts. You just need to get them to get vision so you can drop... Although, actually, you don't even need to get the vision. You can just drop troopers directly on top of the rifts. I mean, 2 or 3 troopers with guns will explode the rift if you sacrifice the troopers to destroy the rifts. I think that will work just fine, right?
It's not reliable just because if they spawn a marine, then the marine will be far away from the rift, and then you won't explode. The explosion will not hit the rift. If it's a zealot or a zergling, it might, because you'll be right next to the rift. But yeah, you can do that, but you can't afford to keep doing that because then you have no standing army.
Well, like I said, regarding the starting army, maybe you don't actually have to push into the bases. You just have to wait on the low ground crystals for the defenders to just move away to the high ground, and you can sneak in and just take the crystals for free.
Maybe. That's assuming that you got the rifts killed. So
yes,
without an expansion, you cannot afford to keep doing that. It's very expensive to keep dropping troopers.
Yeah.
And losing them. So you have to expand, but he's gonna have a hard time expanding without an army.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah.
The expansion is not free.
That's right. Usually, without Meteorus, I can just drop bunkers, and that'll do just fine. But I need the bunkers to defeat the early rifts. I didn't think about it actually. You know what? Okay. I had him all the way in A, but I guess the early rifts you can still deal with. No, if there's sometimes the rifts spawn like below the western high ground, so that's kind of hard to get to. But then again,
so you have to research drop.
Yes.
Immediately.
You can get it early, but not immediately. All right, I guess I can go with C. It's not really.
He needs money.
Yeah.
He really needs money.
It's not really something that most players can just balance right away when they get the research and they get troopers, and then they have to balance between defense and offense between getting the rifts and also defending at home before you can even think about sneaking the crystals. Okay, I guess that's fair.
His repairing's not free either.
Their repair is not free. Well, I wasn't even thinking about repair, to be honest. I was just thinking about just having bunkers, just withstanding attacks. But yes, you probably do need repair for that. Alright, fine. Let's put Arcturus in C. Prestige. Third one is probably the way to go because you need the explodey guys. And it's not like the other two are better. You probably want nuclear annihilation to clear out bases that's just almost impossible to get to. Anyway, Artanis for me is also C because he does have a means to get the early rifts by just dropping Archon dudes on them, although it's kind of expensive if you just really need to survive. If you have an ally who is more late game oriented, it's probably the more if you know your ally, if you're in a group with your ally, you could probably expend the first Archon dudes on the rifts if you can just space them out using probes for vision. And then later on you can use Phoenixes for vision to, or even just observers for vision to drop power field, drop Dragoons to destroy the rifts. And then for offense, shield overcharge will prevent your army from getting fear. That's actually pretty nice, but that's not gonna help your workers because you normally at least don't shield overcharge your worker while it's getting the crystal, so it doesn't actually count for me. That's why he's still only C for me.
So I don't. He's a like pure army based, which means that fear is gonna be a factor. You can't shield overcharge to prevent fear every single time. If you're fighting Zerg, you're gonna need a lot of the you need like vision to not waste your Unbound Fanatics. Otherwise, you're gonna be short on energy. So against Zerg, he's pretty much dead. And then later on, like warping in Zealots for Rift, it could work if there's like nothing else around it. I guess you have to know the timing so that you don't warp in units right when the wave spawns. That way, your Zealots can actually take out a Rift. But yeah, you can also warp in Dragoons, same thing. But yeah, you're basically with lots of hit squads around the map. Your main army is going to be really small, and you can't rely on Unbound Fanatics forever. So I put him in D. He's not good against fear, and he's not good against Void Rifts.
Oh my Donnie, that's actually everyone's getting placed on a lower tier than they originally had them. So no, it's actually not looking that bad. If I just adjust everyone a tier lower, that may work. All right. I actually don't have, seeing where Arcturus and Alarak got placed, I don't have a problem with Artanis being D. In fact, I might just lower everyone on this tier list, or at least on my original tier list, lower them down a tier. Anyway, okay, Artanis goes in D. No prestige recommendation because D is not good. It's considered not good. Let's move on. Dehaka. Where do we have him?
Dehaka, he's his hero units are melee, so there's a chance that they're gonna get feared. And if you're using Brood Brother, at least you have the other one to fight while one is feared. But if they both get feared and one dies, the other one's gonna die too. If you can control rifts with impalers pretty well, but if you're fighting against Terran or Protoss, they're gonna send detectors over. And sometimes Terran will scan you. So if they see you, they're gonna gang up on you, and then if you get feared, you're probably alone. Impalers are generally alone, taking care of rifts, so it's gonna be bad. Pack leaders get feared too, but they have a lot of HP, so you can like summon Dock Run and then right-click a rift and just hope he makes it all the way there. You also have to make like one Mutalisk or something to clear the dark fog of war so that you can summon greater primal worms before A20 if they spawn far. I put Dehaka in B. He's decent, but fear is a big factor here.
Yet another one where it's one tier below where I originally had Dehaka in A. Yeah, it looks like we're moving everyone down a tier this week. I actually think well, no, the early risks. My concern for Dehaka is actually the first couple risks because it can spawn like at the really far one. Although generally it's reachable, it can get pretty far if you have really bad luck. So I personally will still put him in A, but I don't think B is that far of a stretch. Is it though? No, maybe.
So, like, if it's far, you would just not take it. You would just not fight it until you get Glevig. Or you go around, you send one guy around the back, around like the right side of the expo, then go around the back. But that's going to be really slow.
That is really slow. Yes, that is my primary problem with Dehaka. I don't have a problem with the forests as Dehaka because you can just have creeper hosts in your base and just send the creepers to the rifts. And then, as you said, you can just have the vision from the Mutalisk and just use the primal worms to get there. And the ones at the high ground, for example, where the bonus is, and on the little gap between the center enemy base and the far east enemy base, you can just put impalers there as well. So I don't have a problem with Forest for Dehaka. Early rifts could be, especially if you have really bad luck on fear. And he probably doesn't have an easy means to get workers over without getting feared. So I guess B is fine. Alright, let's put it in B. Prestige-wise, second one's still probably better, but you can go third one. Are you recommending the third one over the second one?
Third one against rifts, because second one, you don't need the stronger pack leaders. The enemies aren't buffed.
The double health means they're harder to inflict fear, though.
Yeah, but if you summon a pack leader, then one of your mobile rift killers is suddenly out of action for a minute. Whereas if you're using P3, you summon Doc Run, and your two guys can still kill a rift. They go one way, Doc Run goes another way, or Mervar goes another way.
Kind of expensive to use though, especially considering rifts spawn every 90 seconds. And
you only use them for the rifts that you like. If you haven't cleared the Dark Fog of War because you were busy with other things, you would use Doc Run to do that. You just summon Doc Run and walk to it.
Crawl to it more like. I guess it's fine. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I don't think
the difference between P3 and P2 for the first rift is very, very different. It's so much harder with one Haka.
You're saying double the slap. Double the slap will destroy a rift faster. That's what you're saying. I guess
it's more like double the jump, but yes.
How much damage does the jump do on the first?
I don't know exactly, but it's twice as much. So there's two of them.
I guess. And like just the fact that even though one Haka gets feared, if you get bad luck, the other one can still keep slapping. I guess that's true also. Okay, I guess we can go with the third prestige.
Double eats too. You eat
as well.
The enemies before they hit you.
Yes. Alright, let's put the Haka in B. Prestige-wise, you want the third one. Phoenix for me is B, but we'll probably demote him because everyone's getting demoted so far. He's B for me because he does a way to deal with early rifts, except if you get really bad luck and it spawns really far away. They can just deal with early rifts. The far rifts, yes, he can just have pylons on the high grounds, like I recommend with Alarak. You can also have observers. You can teleport a Phoenix suit. You can have a hit squad of scouts or something, or just warp in a derps or legionnaires. That being said, he doesn't have a good means of getting probes over to the crystal and back without getting feared. That's why I only have him B.
He's an army base. Oh, he's a hero unit base. Even though his units are heroes, they're not like high HP heroes. So they're gonna get feared, and especially if you're fighting like Terran kind of ranged units, they often get the first shot on you. So if you're feared, you're just out of action, and if they hit you once, they're likely to hit you again. They're gonna chain fear you, and yeah. I don't recommend, unlike Alarak, I don't think you should put pylons because pylons attract enemies from the rifts. So they're just gonna go to the pylon and destroy it, then go to your base. Oh, Alarak can overcharge the pylon so he can defend it, but Phoenix cannot do that. So you just need to have like observers for your Phoenix suits. Arbiter suit, if you don't know the pathing, like if you don't know where the turrets are, you might get feared on your way to try to take out a far rift, like in the top right corner or something, and it's just not really reliable. And if you're not used to using P2 like Lone Wolf, where you have to split the champs, it's gonna be really tough. I put Phoenix in D.
That's really far down. Oh my Donnie. 2 tiers below. Is he really as bad as Artanis here?
Anyone that I couldn't beat it with is pretty much D. So
so that's your standard. I don't know. What enemy comp did you get as Phoenix?
Phoenix, Zerg, so that you can hit first and you still can't do it.
Have you tried just pushing in the same direction with all your champions?
Then how will you kill the rifts if they spawn on another side?
Using the Arbiter suit, using a bunch of warp-ins, scouts?
So you're going all the way left, everything. Then 3 rifts spawn on the right, so you teleport there. By the time you actually can clear those, they're going to be attacking your base. The 30-second spawn, they're going to attack your base, and you don't have anything there. You might have cannons, but vanilla cannons are weak. So, and it's also hard to expand. Well, if you have someone to help you, you can expand. But
wait, can't Caldalis manage the expansion?
We didn't expand.
Oh yeah, we actually can't Caldalis just get an expansion with like
their air units,
anti-air? Yeah,
there are air units.
You can get the Dragoon suit to deal with the air units.
Yeah, once you get it, early game, unless if you can't defend it,
we actually didn't get the expansion.
You're gonna surround it because it's in the middle.
Yeah, I actually didn't get the expansion.
We had 2 people and we couldn't get the expansion. I wanted the expansion, but we didn't get it.
I actually forgot. It was pretty long ago. Oh my Donnie. Okay. If you say that Phoenix really is not gonna work here, then okay, I'll take you up on that. Let's put Phoenix in D tier. No prestige recommendations because D tier means not recommended.
Should be P2. It's like if you're not P2, it's even worse.
Yeah, but if you're gonna play a D tier commander, despite our recommendation, despite our assessment that he is D tier, like that's on you now. The prestige, the choice is on you. Anyway, Han and Horner for me is A tier because they can get the early rips with the Hellions, they can and the Magmines and the Galleons. The 4 rips they can get with Air Strikers. And for the defense, they can just have Magmines, although not I hear myself saying that. Magmines aren't very good defense. Oh my Donnie. Although that being said, if you can snipe the rifts quickly enough with Hot and Horner, you shouldn't really need to get a lot of defense. Maybe just a depot to block the enemies, couple of Hellions behind. Might be fine. Anyway, the workers are probably going to be the issue I see that will make Hot and Horner less viable because they will get feared by random things. And Hot and Horner needs the minerals. They are an army-based commander after all. They will need the minerals to produce the army that they will need to push into the bases. Although you can still do the crystal stealing strategy. So yeah, I have an A, but what do you think?
Han and Horner can expand easily because they don't need to go far. They can just either triple strike a rift or double strike with fire. If you double strike with fire, they will spawn one set of like Toolings, Zealot, or Marine. But that's not going to be a big issue. So they're really good here. That means you'll never really fight any of the big waves. Their main issue is the regular enemies because if the enemies are using air units, then you're gonna have a problem. If they're ground units, you can strike fighter them, but you need to be good with your strike fighter usage. Basically, if you can kill a rift without strike fighters, then you kill it, and then you have 2 extra strikes somewhere else, and you want to use them like all 10 strikes every time rifts spawn, basically, like about pretty much like that. And then you do have your call downs. You don't really have anywhere to clear except the middle right or the top right area, the dominator part, and the left side. But you don't really need a call down for those. I put Han Horner in A because they clear the most dangerous thing. You don't need Magmines. You don't need Widow Mines. You can just use Hellions and Hellbats.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we agreed on something for once. And prestige-wise, you still want the first one, right? You don't want the third one? Third one's too
either
expensive.
one, I think. First or second, I think they're both okay.
Oh, not the third one. Third one's too expensive.
Not
Okay.
the third one.
Second one, yeah, I can see that being good as well. I'm just thinking. My line of thinking here is that my primary defense is gonna be Magmines. That's why I want the first prestige. But if you want to go for units, no problem with the second prestige. All right, Hot and Horner A tier. Karax for me, he gets the early rips with overcharge with orbital strike. He gets the 4 rips with observers and then orbital strike. You can even go mirage and orbital strike. You can defend with turrets or with cannons and monoliths. You can push with Sorlands and Purifier Beam. In fact, you can push a lot with Purifier Beam. You can do a lot with Purifier Beam. And workers, you have Unity Barrier. So that's pretty awesome. I have an S tier.
Oh, no. I don't. He's not. If you don't expand with him, it's gonna take him a while to get. So the problem with Karax is that until you get Solar Efficiency 3, you don't have enough energy to just orbital strike everything. Because you do need to clear some of the enemies near the crystals, and you might have to fight an attack wave. And you're not. I guess you can hold on to your Purifier Beam until it comes, but like you might have at 7:30 and just never use it until 11 minutes, and it's kind of a waste. So you don't know, and you have to. I don't know if you can really expand reliably without help.
What?
Without help.
Karax is one of the easiest expansions in non-Vermilion. You just sneak a probe on the right side, take the bottom expansion.
If you're fighting Protoss, the cannons will shoot you.
What a pylon, so you can get vision.
What?
Pylon.
So the cannon. So you're gonna make a pylon, then another building, so that the pylon has something else to shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you can. But what are you gonna break? Oh, you're gonna cannon push the
No.
the natural.
Just get the cannon so the cannon doesn't shoot your probe, and then once you get the vision of the cannon using the pylon, you can shoot it down.
Oh yeah. It costs a lot of. You don't want to waste energy doing that.
That's
Otherwise,
true. But you do need the
you're gonna run out.
expansion.
You need the expansion, but you need someone to expand with you. or else you expand very late.
That's true. You can also expand very late. That's true.
But if you do that, it's not going to be very effective. One thing that Karax can do, Karax and Swann, is that like probably not the center, but if after you take over the left side, you can just tower up the left side at the ramp, and any rifts that spawn there will go to that side instead of your base. So it's like it reduces the pressure from uncleared rifts on like one single front. You can reduce it. He is very good, but energy discipline is gonna be important, because if you're just blasting everything you see, you're gonna run out of energy. And you also need to keep your observers alive. So if you're fighting non-Terran, they might see your observers when they're walking, like when they're flying by. If you, depending on where you place them, and if you don't, you have to place them on over high ground, or else the lava will destroy them. So you have to like know exactly where to put them, and you also have to move them and blast. It's kind of hard to do. So I put him in A.
Okay. Well, if it's not unanimous, it's not S. That's pretty much the story here. I still think he's really good. The best one we have so far. But yes, it's true. It will take a little bit more effort to expand, especially since Fear might make your worker just not go to where you need them to go. And A is still really good. A is, just below S. So yeah, A is still fine. Prestige twice, you definitely want the third one because you want all the energy. I just can't really figure out why not just use Purifier Beam pretty much every chance you get. It is back every 3 minutes rather. And for the attack waves, you can just Solar Lance them, right?
Yes.
So why not just do that? Just use the Purifier Beam every chance you get, not hold on to it, because the first time the Purifier Beam comes online is the third set of crystals, the one with two above the expansion and 2 to the east of the expansion. You can use the Purifier Beam to clear both sets of enemies and basically clear the crystals for free. And by that point, you should already have...
I would clear one side and then clear the enemies on the ramp above it. That's probably better than trying to move it across from left to right or right to left.
Yeah, maybe. So anyway, yeah. I don't see the need to save Purifier Beam for that particular set of crystals. I would just use it every time. But anyway, A is still fine. Let's move on. Nova for me is B tier because she can go for Liberators and Ravens to deal with rifts, even far ones. She can go third prestige and just clear bases using the Sabotage Drone and Airstrike if you can manage to get an expansion. That being said, the portion of the game where you don't have a lot of army or Nova yet can get rough, the early rift portion. So you'll have to defend with stuff like turrets or just wall until Nova is ready. And then if you're using the third prestige, as I would recommend, you might need to use Nova herself as an attacking unit just to help get rid of the rift. That's why she's only B for me.
So Nova, like, if you use a defensive drone, it's not going to negate fear all the time. You have to manually target your own dudes and give them shields, because if you get hit first and your unit gets feared immediately, you cannot manually target the feared unit, which means that it's going to continue to get hit by everything else around and you're going to lose that unit. So every time you use a defensive drone, you have to either hope that you don't get feared on the first hit so that it auto triggers, or you have to manually do it every time. And early on you can, later on you have no time to do that. Banshee hit squads are hard to use because you don't have enough of them. And also you have to remember to fly them back to
the original point.
You have to fly them back to high ground so that they don't get killed by lava. You have to avoid all the things that shoot up, because if they get hit, they're gonna get feared, and if you lose one, that's a big problem. The only really good thing that's going for her is that P3 allows you to get to far rifts or any rifts, and no one can stop you. So that's like the only good thing, really, that she has. I put her in C.
You know what? I had Alarak in C, Nova in... I had Alarak and Nova in B tier. Both of them were going to end up in C tier. That's about right, actually. Looking at my own tier list, it looks like everyone's just lower, except Hot and Horner for some reason. So, let's put Nova in C tier. Yeah, that seems about right. Alright, let's put Nova in C tier. Prestige twice, you want the third one, because you want the ability to just sneak around risk-free, essentially.
If you use P1, like, you get more Banshees, but Nova, she when she blinks, she gets herself feared a lot, so it's kind of risky.
Yeah, okay. C is pretty much in line with where the rest of the commanders are going based on the movement on my own tier list. So yeah, C seems to be fine based on where the commanders are stacking out. Raynor for me is C. Originally, it'll probably go down because he can have bunkers, but he'll definitely run out of steam, especially if you can't expand properly. You might have to use Hyperion on every single Void Rift, unless you count the close ones that you can get with the units. But you're pretty much playing defense the entire game. The only pushing you'll do is by pushing the crystals when the defenders of the low ground are backing away. And that's when you sneak your worker in and gather the crystal. That's pretty much it. So I have him in C tier. Probably going lower. What do you think?
He has okay defense because he has a bunker and you can fill it up with units. But the enemies, the rifts spawn tanks. So if you don't have any like banshees or something in the front, you cannot keep permanently cloaked because you'll run out of energy. So you have to manage the energy on that stuff. If you use banshees for hit squads, you have to manage their energy as well. And for far rifts, you can use Hyperion or Duskwings. But it's like you're pretty much only clearing rifts, or sometimes not even then because the cooldowns aren't ready. So it's if the enemy is like Terran and you try to Hyperion into a base and everything is shooting at you, your PDD is going to disappear really fast and then you get feared.
Yeah.
So it's not great. It's not using Raynor is not going to be great. So yeah, I put him in D.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I expected. Like everyone's going at least a tier lower. So you know what? Yeah, D is pretty much in line with where everyone else is stacking out so far. Stet Boy for me, or no prestige recommendation because it's D. Stukov for me is D because he doesn't have great early rift fighting. He doesn't have great later rift fighting. You can have banshees like what you did, but it looks pretty taxing. Like just watching you do it, it looks pretty taxing already. And he has no means to protect his workers from fear, aside from the trickle of invested that the enemies would rather attack than the worker. So I have him in D.
Yep. I have him in D because Banshee hit squads are your best choice and they're not great. They're a choice, but they're your best choice, but they're not great. And if the enemy is not Terran, they will send detectors to you, and any rift that you don't kill after 10 minutes will spawn air units and they will peek. They will try to see where you are. If you're fighting Terran, they will often fly over your burrowed banshees knowing that you're there, but they just can't do anything, so they fly somewhere else. If they fly with an observer, they're gonna shoot you and then you're gonna get feared and then you'll die. And you can't fight back because you are a banshee and they are a void ray. So it's just not great. If the enemy is air, you're gonna be in huge trouble because you need like liberators or something, and if you don't expand, you can't afford it. And if you do expand, you can afford it, but like you also need banshee hit squads. So it's just not great. So it's a lot of work for very little payoff. So I'm gonna say D.
Okay. My second hit of the day. Oh my Donnie. Stukov goes in D tier. No prestige recommendations because he is D tier. Swann, where do we have him?
So Swann, he's here. It's like Karax, I guess, similar to Karax, except he's similar to Karax in the sense that you just heavily fortify one base, and if you can fortify like an island later, but you're not gonna do much for the earlier part of the game. He doesn't really get feared because he uses turrets and his army is wraiths. His army is wraiths, so wraiths don't get seen very much. And against the crystal enemies, you'll like concentrated beam them most likely, and you have pulse cannon to clear big areas and attack waves later on. If the attack waves are not that strong, you can actually let them go to your main. And yeah, Swann, it's not unusual for him to leave like 3-4 rifts alone and still not die, because he's just really strong. So hopefully you're not fighting immortals though. I think he can be in A.
That's where I have him. Yeah, Swann, good early rift defense, but just defending. Great rift defense, or great later rift defense, by just having my idea was actually have a Hercules or a couple of factories flying over the other areas to give vision for the laser drill, and you can just Hercules your workers over so they can gather the crystal relatively easily. And yeah, as you mentioned, you can have wraiths just clearing stuff, destroying enemy groups, and you can have your concentrated pulse cannon to help clear enemies, dangerous enemies. I do have an A tier. All right, let's put Swann in A tier. Prestige prestige-wise, second one?
Second one.
Second one.
I
Okay.
don't recommend flying factories because they will get ganged up on by all the air units, and then you won't be if you don't have a main factory, then you won't be able to build blaster billies and stuff.
That's fair.
So I'd recommend you can send it out early and then send it home by like the mid game.
That's
Otherwise, it will die.
All right, let's move on. Tychus, where do you have him?
Tychus, he's the Rift King. So fear is a problem, but if you throw your grenade before they can see you, or you take out the majority of their army with one shot, you're not going to really get hit. If you get hit, you can medevac out so you won't die. Even if you let a rift spawn, Sirius's turrets are not affected by fear, so you can easily expand, sit at the natural, throw down 3 turrets, and you're not going to die. Even if you leave a rift alone, Sam will eventually get it. And yeah, so Tychus, very good. I put him in S.
I also put Tychus in S tier. Very good early rift with Tychus and Sirius. Very good late rift with Crooked Sam. And the only issue I see is if the worker gets feared, it will get really annoying, but Tychus is pretty easy to control, so you can just work on just making sure you're pathing your SCV safely. Or when you get to a late enough point in the game, you can just send multiple SCVs to it. Or you can just have really good rift control and just never let the rift spawn anything, so that your workers can gather the crystals safely. Yeah, I do have him in S tier. Prestige-wise, you want the second one.
Yep.
Vorazun I have in C tier. Probably will go lower, looking at how everyone else is stacking up. Might be going to D tier, but I initially have it in C tier because army-based commander, they do have Shadow Guard, which they can use at 3 minutes to destroy the first couple rifts. Yeah, I think they will be available for the first couple rift sets, and then you can use time stop to respawn all the Shadow Guard you have. You can even do the cloak wall thing of just making sure the enemy doesn't come in, but they will arrive with detectors at some point, so you will need a backup plan for that. Army is melee. They will shoot you first, so not great. But my thinking here is that you can do time stop strategies that will allow you to clear a lot of area with your Shadow Guard, and that's pretty good clearing. And yeah, that's like half a point in early rift and half a point in late rift, so that's C tier for me. What do you think?
So against Terran, it's like it's almost free win. If you're not against Terran, it's a lot harder. So my issue with Vorazun is that it's like night and day if you're fighting Terran or not Terran. Because if they can't hit you, since they don't send detectors, if they can't hit you, it's like there's like no drawback you can't get feared if they can never hit you at all. So against Terran, it's like pretty much free. But if you're fighting an air comp or something and they have like scouts with the crystals, you need something there to like blast you have to like take out their overseer or observer really fast, and you don't want a black hole every time, so you just kind of have to charge in, maybe lose 1 corsair and then take out their detector right away. You need to not use F2, so you have hit squads everywhere. You have to control them so that they don't stay on the low ground. Every time stop can clear an area, and you kind of hope that you're fighting Terran ground. If it's not Terran ground, hope that it's ground. And if you're fighting like Protoss air, then you're kind of screwed. I put Vorazun in C.
Oh, hey! I managed to not get the Vorazun demoted this time. Yay! Vorazun C tier. That's actually crazy. Vorazun's higher than Raynor, Artanis, or not really crazy, but he's higher than Stetboy, higher than Kerrigan. That's crazy. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. Prestige-wise, you want the third one. It's pretty essential.
Only the third one.
Yeah. Vorazun has 1 prestige, the third one. Zagara, where do you have him?
So, on paper, Zagara doesn't like fear because her units are very fragile and they will get feared easily. But what actually happens is that you have like 10 units get feared and 20 more surround them and kill them, blow them up. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you get feared because you're gonna roll a bunch of banelings and scourge at the enemy. You're not using P1 though. You're still using P3, and P3 allows you to get to pretty much any rift. So you can get to any rift easily and take them out. And you can expand, and after you expand, you just put static D to make sure that you never they don't attack your workers, and that's it. So I put Zagara in A.
Hey, that's where I have him. I have put Zagara in A because half a Brutalist is pretty good. So for once, half a Brutalisk is better than 3 Brutalisks. Imagine that. Because the Brutalisk is free. You get it regardless of whether you can get biomass or not. And you can get the rifts no matter how far they are. And like Twotuuu said, you can just send Zerglings Zerglings and Beings at the enemy. You want the third Prestige, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Only the third.
You need the half a Brutalisk, and you definitely want the expansion as well, and you defend it with like spine crawlers. Do you still spend money on bio launchers in this game?
I think I did.
Okay, that's fine.
You just have them shooting the ramp.
The ramp. Oh yeah, the ramp. That makes sense. I was thinking the low ramp, but the ramp's probably a better target. Anyway, yes, for this once, half a Brutalisk is better than 3. Huh, the math is not mathing. Anyway, my only issue for Zagara, I guess, is that the worker has a higher chance of getting hit with fear. But other than that, it's half a Brutalisk is pretty good. So yeah, 8 here. How do you figure that? Half a Brutalisk is better than 3 Brutalisks.
I think if you so the worker getting fear thing is not that big of an issue if you control the rifts and if you have a ground army. So like because Zagara has both. So she has an army that's always like escorting her drones. Whereas like if you're Karax or something, you don't always have an army to escort your worker, putting them in danger. So Zagara getting feared, her worker getting feared is a very minor issue that's not very likely to happen.
If you say so. Not my experience, but if you say so. Alright, Zeratul, cannon's good. You can get the cage for the artifact fragments, and that's gonna be pretty good. S tier.
I should try using P2, because I only used P3.
Why?
Against a weak comp, and I did this one years ago, so I should try P2 against a strong comp and see what it's like. My current concern about Zeratul is that if he's not fighting Terran, he's a lot of time he's one-man army. So like, of course you can project cannons and stuff, but if you don't snipe their observer, then you will get feared, and that's no good. So, but I think he is very strong. For the first rifts, if you use the Legion, you should be able to take it out. So after that, you have DT hit squads, and then I think S. Well, has he ever been S in any other rifts mutation? I don't think so. So
really,
I don't know why he would be S here.
He's not been S in any other rift mutation? I'll have to review that. Oh my Donnie.
Usually it's just Tychus as S, because Zeratul has to work. Like, he has all the tools. He can do it. It's just that I don't remember him ever getting S for Rift's mutation, because it's always Tychus.
I'll have to go back to
It's always Tychus. And like a lot of times it's Tychus alone. So
a lone wolf.
I don't remember ever giving him S. I put him in A, because although for this one, because it's VP, the pacing of the map is really slow. So you can get time to build up, and I think that counts for something. So yeah, I think if you... the slow pacing allows you to get enough cannons. Oh yeah, and the trapping the artifact. It's like free buffs every 2 minutes.
You get like 9
Okay, yeah, I think... Yeah, that makes... Yeah, then, because on other maps, when you're trying to control rifts, if you suddenly have to go back and like find an artifact or something, that's kind of it takes time away from your objective or rift clearing. But if you know where the rift is every time, I mean where the artifact is every time, it's just rebuff.
Free buffs.
So yeah, okay, I think S is fine. I'm gonna have to try this.
All right. We still haven't mentioned the demote dude, by the way. Just like make the enemies into workers. That's like another free kill for and less chance of getting hit with fear. And also let's not delay this any longer. Zeratul S tier, prestige wise, I recommend the second one. If you say the third one works just fine, then that's fine as well. Okay.
I don't think you should use the third one.
This is an ugly looking tier list. That B is like an eyesore. Does this look right? We don't have a double S, do we? No double S this week.
No way.
All right. Who's top of S?
Tychus.
All right. Then Zeratul. Who's top of A?
Zagara.
Yeah, half a Brutalisk. Pretty good. And then Karax?
Han Horner.
Because
you instant delete no matter where you don't need to move things into position to delete the rifts. You just delete them from base.
I'm not opposed to ranking Hot and Horner so high, but wow, that's pretty insane. And then after Hot and Horner, it's Karax,
Karax.
then Swann. Okay, who's top of B?
Abathur.
Why not Dehaka?
Because Abathur, once you have Brutalisk online, it's so much better than Dehaka. It's just the problem is getting the first Brutalisk. That's it.
Right? I was actually wondering why Abathur's like, this is throwing me off. Something fierce. Abathur is a whole tier below Zagara, despite having 2.5 more Brutalisks. That's wild to me. I mean, I can understand why.
The problem,
it's just crazy.
So there are several reasons. One, like on many maps, you can just go to the encampments and get biomass. You can't do that when the lava is rising. That's like half the time before.
Yes.
There's a lot of time before it's like the lava's up and you can't do anything.
Unless you're Lila.
And the so I played as Abathur against all 3 races. The only race that I can get a Brutalist before 220 is Zerg.
Zerg.
If it's not Zerg, I had to get it by like 3 something.
Did you get the Brutalist over
First
at the Hybrid Dominator area as well?
No.
Oh.
I go to the left island for Terran Protoss. I go to the left island and I go to the right island. Not the Dominator part. But I have to walk my Roach around my my spine crawlers so that they don't get feared. So he doesn't get feared and he doesn't engage the enemies.
That's crazy.
So it's like, you have to basically go around. You have to know exactly how to lure just so you can get it in time before 4 minutes. Because if you don't, then you will have to deal with 4 rifts.
It needs to be pixel perfection. If you misplace a toxicness, it's over. It's over. And
so it's really hard to get enough biomass. You can kill the little critters and get 1 or 2 biomass, but that's like that's not enough.
It's not enough.
The first and like the first wave doesn't give you that much. The first wave, so you can't wait to get a Brutalisk like other maps.
That's true. So,
and if you try to like use Roach Ravager, you're gonna get feared and die on your way to trying to take care of a rift.
So who's top of C?
Alarak.
Yeah. Okay. And then
I may be biased because I actually beat this with Vorazun, but not the other 2. So whereas like
I'm also biased with Vorazun because Vorazun is one of the guys that actually put in C. My tier list is so off. Oh my Donnie, look at that. Not the guys watching. Look at that tier list. Look at that compared to what this turned out to be. Oh my Donnie. Like it feels like everyone's just lower by 1 or 2. And Vorazun is one of the ones I actually have in C tier.
Vorazun.
I'm okay with Vorazun.
Nova.
Arcturus then Nova. I had Arcturus in A tier. That's a pretty far descent. I had Nova in B tier. That's 1 tier lower. All right. So who's top of D tier? It has to be Stetboy, right? For all the buffs.
Stetman.
And then
Wow.
Artanis for the shield overcharge stuff. Archon dudes. It's potential. I mean, Archons even when they get fear, they still shoot. And shield overcharge does prevent
Phoenix,
fear.
I think.
Phoenix?
Phoenix's issue is not so like Phoenix is fine before A20. After A20, when there are 4 rifts, he starts to get like overworked. Before A20, he's okay because there are only 2. And they're close.
You know what? I will eat that propaganda because one of my metrics is early rift clearing, and if Phoenix can do early rifts, meaning before A20, that is a point, and that will put him in C tier, which will go well with my metrics. So you know what? Let's have Phoenix in second in D tier.
Then I would say Raynor, Stukov, Artanis.
Raynor, Stukov, Artanis. Artanis is the lowest.
Because Raynor, Stukov have static defense. That's pretty good. Because trickles, if you don't have good static defense, they can just like shoot you once and you get feared, and then could be annoying. Like if a rift wave spawns, a bunker can deal with it much better than like a few goons, especially if they send like an immortal tank marauder Mutalisk or something. Then it's like,
all right,
it's kind of hard to deal with that. A bunker can deal with that though.
Are we sure like Karax a whole tier below Artanis? Really? That's so rough.
I think you should try her.
No. Not because I don't like Kerrigan, I do, but because like if you watch my videos, well, yeah, the one that came out on Sunday is me soloing this as Overmind, the Nexus Cobb Commander. This is the first time I've ever had difficulty using the Overmind Nexus Cobb Commander against a Void Reputation. Like I couldn't understand why it was so difficult for me to clear this particular one this time around. It took me like.
That's not
10
Kerrigan though.
plus tries. Yeah, no. It's just like, it's not Kerrigan, but there are, I guess, a few similarities. No.
You should solo queue with Kerrigan and see how it's like.
You know, I might do that once or twice before I rush back to the safety and comfort of Tychus. I am not gonna try to. I'm like, you know what? If this video gets 100 likes, I will try to beat this solo queue as Kerrigan. Make it happen, guys. If this video hits 100 likes, I will do it for you. If not, no way. I will try it once. Solo queue as Kerrigan.
Just
But-
once? If you
Yeah.
get 100 likes, you're only gonna try once?
No. If I get 100 likes, If I get 100 likes, I will solo queue as Kerrigan until I win as Kerrigan solo queue.
Oh, do it, guys.
100 likes, I'll do it. But if it doesn't get 100 likes, I'll do it once, like just to see. All right, deal? Why am I making a deal? This is just me unilaterally. No deal. I'm just doing it unilaterally. 100 likes, I'll solo queue with Kerrigan over and over until I find a win. All right. Finally, do we have combinations of commanders B tier or lower who are better than Zeratul on his own?
Be anyone with Abathur, I guess.
Anyone Abathur? Yeah.
If you keep Abathur alive, you're gonna be fine.
Phoenix Abathur in
So
particular.
if you don't count Abathur, then you can keep Dehaka alive.
Phoenix and Abathur, or Phoenix and Dehaka, because Phoenix is pretty good in the early game. Phoenix is good in the early game. Alarak in the early game. So basically, Phoenix or Alarak for the early game, and then one of the other ones who are more stable in the late game. Yeah, if you can get Stet Boy to the point where he has enough infestors, that might be good.
Yes.
All right. So guys, watch Twotuu's videos. I will link them down below. See you guys next time.